Hey, and welcome back. I'm here with Jeff Bandman. We're going to talk about fire family life. So let's get into it. Jeff, tell me a little bit about you and your experience.
The continuation of the ongoing conversation. Yeah. A little on me, just for anybody who hasn't paid attention. Operationally, fire service at a very young age, started at 16, career firefighter right out of high school, Loudoun County, Virginia. So if anybody knows that, just outside DC, I was the 14th career fireman hired there. I think they're like 800 and something now. So it's been a minute from back then. Spent some time doing that job, got bored, joined the Army, Range Battalion, Kosovo in 99, out, and then spent over a decade with CIA post 9/11, doing a lot of counterterrorism ops around the world. But then really, and I think this is the thing, right? The through line through my life, now at 50 looking back, the through line, even from childhood, was really this obsession to understand human behavior and understand why we make the choices we make, what's going on, and that's progressed through the years. I mean, it's gone from everything from operational performance, how do I take a Navy SEAL and make them great operating? How do I take a covert intelligence officer and keep them safe operating the field? How do I become dad? How do I go from being fireman to being dad? Like all of it. And it's just where I've invested my entire existence in. So now I'm sitting as the chief operating officer for a health and fitness company, for a wellness company that's growing pretty quick. I took it on this year, was kind of invited to come in and do it. So it's a lot of fun. So now getting to take all of that and look through the lens of wellness. We support the Air Force civilian population, a lot of government organizations and municipalities, et cetera, in the wellness space. So that's it's a fun life now. That's the
I
deal.
didn't know I didn't know that you were in the wellness space now. That's really freaking cool and
Yeah.
probably really rewarding, I would think.
Well, it is. Yeah. I mean, because I took after I had the SGB shot, and I think we talked somewhere around that a couple years ago, the stellate ganglion blocker in 2023. I ended up, here's what I learned from that. I just had this final discovery because you know me, I'm a geek. I tracked everything. Like what's going on, what's happening. I ended up taking 2 years off of everything.
Good for you.
Like I shut life down. I was dad. That's the only priority I had for 2 years to literally recover. So, but you know what I learned through that whole process, through basically being gifted a brand new nervous system and then sitting in conflict, what I've learned is while it like clears the cache on the energy, it clears the physiological signatures of your life, of the trauma and residue of your life. That gets cleared out. And you actually, you feel settled and relaxed and at peace and calm for the first time. And you don't have to be, out and on and looking and, wow, I can actually breathe. But what I realized is the hard part is it doesn't remove the memory or the re-traumatization in a way, right? And so what ends up happening is you're re-experiencing whatever it was or whatever has gone on or whatever the difficulty is. Whenever you experience that again now, it's familiar, but it's brand new to the system.
Mhm.
And so you got to do the work to shift how it was processed the first time in how you're reprocessing the second. So it's been a lot of work. So now being in that wellness space, the teams, we got a former Green Beret, we got a former Navy SEAL, we got a couple other people, and then people from the wellness space in there. So it's an interesting time to take a look at some stuff.
Oh, that's actually really cool. I love how you're a geek in it. You wanna know what's going on, right? Like, that's actually what I love about you and the conversations that we have is that not just here telling me things, you're telling me why and how, and it's interesting, and I think it's definitely a conversation that needs to keep happening.
This is what I had to learn a long time ago. I feel like my job somewhere along the line, long time ago, became about taking outside or highly scientific information or the research or whatever it was, and then translating it to operator speak or to fireman speak. Because you know it. I mean, you take a fireman, you take a cop, you take a team guy or military guy, take an operator. You basically have about 5 minutes to make a pitch, have it land, and be like, I could try that. That'll
Oh my
work.
god.
Yeah, we'll try that. I mean, that's life, right? I mean, that was my life. Hey, dude, I need you to try this breath work. Does it work? I don't know. Let's find out. Cool. And here's the problem. If you don't make it through those 5 minutes, it's gone.
Yeah.
Like that is your opportunity. Because if it's not validated by dude, if he's not like, oh yeah, I could see that. Yeah, I could. If that doesn't show up, then it's gone. And not only is it gone, it's gone for like a whole development cycle. Like
Yeah.
that could be 2 or 3 years before you get back to a point where now breathwork's a good idea, or now meditation's a good idea, or now whatever, because it was pitched wrong, or it just didn't land the way it needed to land, or it didn't make sense. It's too I don't understand that. This is too much. I don't get, and that's what I love about my life, because I got to be in the experience of it
Mhm.
and then translate it and be
Yeah.
like, all right, listen, no
Yeah.
kidding. Here you are, knee deep.
And I'm laughing because those you have that go on at home too. I
Hey
I have
babe,
5
why don't you
minutes.
try this? Oh, yeah, I'm not doing that. I'm not. I mean, I was that guy. Listen, I'm not making fun of anyone else but me at this point, Yeah. Yeah.
And
I was like, I'm
yeah,
not doing that. What are you crazy? It's stupid. I'm not doing
mhm. And
Why
it's the
would I do
smallest things. It's not even, like, mind-blowing stuff. It's, like, the easiest stuff.
Well, this is the interesting point. This is what happens, and this is, we in our kind of pre-game show, you talked about a lot of things that kind of want to hit on, but this doesn't matter if you're going home, if you're going to retirement, any point of transition, you are leaving what is familiar and comfortable. I didn't say good or bad. I just said familiar and comfortable.
Mhm.
Okay. The
Right.
system is tuned to familiar and comfortable. We move from what's familiar and comfortable here, and we have to separate from that into what will be. And so part of this is understanding our capability and our capacity in that frame,
Mhm.
and so one, we're great at things we do. We're not great at transitioning to other things. We're really great at building an identity for ourselves. And I think this is important for men too today. And this is partly why, especially in the services, you kind of have this, it's a different breed. I look back and be like, if I was going to do this again, or my son decides one day that he's going to go down this road, I'm going to be like, buddy, wait till you're done to get married. Wait till you're done to start a family, because you will always be split. This requires so much attention and so much capability, and you only have so much capacity. And so the capacity is what makes everything work. The capacity is what makes home life work, transition work, the call work, resiliency work. The capacity is the key.
Mhm.
And we get stuck in capability. You can have all the capability in the world. If you don't have any capacity, you're toast.
Mhm.
And I think that was the hard realization for me, slamming into the wall at the end of 50 years of this long life, feeling like I just lived, you know, 5 life cycles, basically. I was exhausted, a lot of capability and zero capacity. When you get to zero capacity, I can't even think. I can't even open up. I don't even have any room for anything else. And so then if I hand you something when you have no capacity, it's just going to fall apart. I mean, how do you have the capacity to walk in and just greet your kids like the first 5 minutes? Just gave a talk yesterday on resilience, no slides, no nothing. It was on a Zoom call and I made myself look like an idiot, but I'm like, listen, this is what you got to do. All the stuff that we're carrying from today or yesterday or last week or tomorrow, or whatever it is, like that's all just weighted on us every day. And that eats our capacity.
Mhm.
And so we've got to take some time, everyone. I mean, I'd sit in the car for 3 minutes, breathe, collect all that stuff up, like visually see it, pack it in a container, set it aside. You can pick it up in the morning. That doesn't need to be where I'm going. All the stuff from work doesn't need to be at home, and all the stuff at home doesn't need to be at work. And the tricky part of this for years has been, how do I do this without isolating myself? How do I do this without feeling like I'm left out? Yeah, the hardest part for me, like during my time at CIA, I didn't have, it wasn't like I was gone for 6 months and then back. And I think we've talked about this. I was gone for 2 weeks, back for a month, gone for 3 months, back for 2 weeks,
Mhm.
on a plane, cancel the trip, go in the country, can't go. Now I'm home. Like what? Like there was no stability in my existence for my family.
Mhm.
Where's dad? I don't really know right now, actually. He's not here is the extent of the answer, right? And what that caused between the girl's mom and I was this total separation of life.
Mhm.
And, she did a great job being home, raising the girls like they needed attention, and she was there. And I'd come in and I was the visitor. I'd come back from a trip. I didn't even have a home. It didn't even feel like my bed. Everybody's tap dancing around dad. Well, let's do this and let's keep that and everything else. And so, I didn't know how to be. And so that became frustrating and then became, like I was being pushed out. And then I had my own crap about it. And so now before you know it, you know, there you go.
It's interesting that you say that because my husband and I just had a conversation about this the other day. When the kids were little and he got forced on duty or was going on a strike team, and I had to tell the kids, "Hey, dad's not coming home. He can't take you to that soccer practice or he can't be at your play or whatever." I would compensate for that with something fun. So the kids knew that if I was going to let them down, they were going to go get candy and we were going to have a movie night, right? Like they knew that was
Right.
what was going to happen. And for the longest time, he resented it because he felt left out. Like, why
Hmm.
are they having these movie marathons without me?
Right.
And here I am making all this money, and now they're spending it on all this candy. Like, it just like the mental part of it, I never knew that that's how he felt. He never knew why I was actually doing it because there was never a conversation about what was actually going on.
These are the biological functions and the physiological wiring that we just don't understand. Like the worst thing you can do to a human being is eject them from the tribe,
Mhm,
remove them from the herd. Now take a man who's working very hard, who holds in his heart a big commitment regardless, because you don't do this stuff. I have this thing that warriors, we only do what we do because our capacity for love is just stupid. And it turns into all kinds of other things that then people don't think that's the case. But
mhm,
everything we do is because we love so deeply
mhm.
and so much. And then we build our family and we get things going. And then we're split between our existence. We're a whole person over here and we're a whole person over there. And both require 100% capacity.
Yeah, yeah, that's
So how
deep.
do I be 100% of everything to everyone? And you can't,
Mm.
and listen, I don't have any answers for this. I'm sorry.
I think the answer is communicating in a
Always.
relationship for sure. If I had known that like 10 years ago, I could have been like, "Okay, so dad's home now, let's have another movie marathon." Or
Yeah. Now let's welcome dad back. Like let's
right.
create
Well, and we did in
or
our own way, but it wasn't like I wasn't recreating the same thing, like, right? Like, he felt left out. So, "Oh, dad's back now, let's create some kind of tradition with him now that he's back." And I think we're trying that, but it wasn't really translating properly because I didn't realize that that's how he was feeling. He didn't understand why I was doing what I was doing.
listen, I've been on the flip side of this so many times. It becomes a missed opportunity.
Mhm.
And it's like, well, I don't want it now that it's on the back end. You know what I mean? It doesn't carry the same thing. Now we're forcing into celebrating dad. Now, and by doing that stuff, we're now pushing dad away a little bit further too.
Like, there is no answer except for
Listen, and it's not, and I have come to a place in life where I like to say presence is the first action. Your presence, whether you realize it or not, is the first action you're taking always.
Mhm,
And I failed at that. I generally speaking, presence is formed by identity, and identity is the dominant role being played by the person in their life. Unfortunately, today, the dominant role for most people is their work. Let's put
mhm,
it that way. It's very true for men, but let's open that up because it's a diverse world, right?
mhm.
We have moved from a space of family first to job career first existence. That's just the way it's gone. I will tell you right after my 2-year break, I literally I'm never going back. I'm never going back to that level of dysregulation ever again. I protect myself like you would not believe these days. Um, because I now know what it feels like to be calm and quiet and at peace, and nobody taking that away from me. So you have that as a base, job over family. Today, my job supports me being dad. if my job doesn't support me being dad, there will be a new job. And I've been clear with the leadership. I've been clear with everybody in the company about it. Be like, the minute this interrupts dad, I got to go find something else because dad's the deal now. And that took a lot. And I fight against it even today all the time, as we're being excited and a new identity is being born in this role. I'm having to really pay attention to that because in normal job, I told you before, I was like, yeah, it's great to 50 to kind of just be an average dude. Finally, it feels like, I just get to play an average guy, get to go to work, get to come home, you know. Uh, but when we're dealing with things like in this space, fire service, et cetera, crisis world things, there's a piece that people don't realize that's going on, which is there is an actual physiological adaptation taking place in that person's system, which is preparing them for the environments and the situations they will face.
Mhm.
Because you can't go from me to that. Like I could go turn it on and I could go do whatever I needed to do again today. I do know that capability is in there. I also know the cost to doing that today. And
Yeah.
that's something I didn't know ahead of time. I didn't understand how my system would morph and shift to move and keep me hovering in this perpetual on fight or flight mode, just hovering over time. And the longer the exposure and the more in and the harder it is, that adaptation gets stronger and stronger and stronger. And so while my body is trying to do a really good thing to protect me and keep me safe and keep me right in the zone, so when the roof falls in, I can move and shake so that I'm in the zone because my internal system is saying, you have to be prepared at any moment in time to run into a burning building or go jump out of an airplane onto a mountain that's on fire. Any moment of the day that could be, and we miss that, and we don't understand that no one can control that. That is the human system at work, and it's brilliant and it's magical. But now we call that trauma and we call that stress and we call that checked out and we label it, and we start to tear down the person that's committed their life to something bigger than themselves with a whole lot of love. And so now we're just like, who do we want to be? You want to know why suicide rates are so off the charts? Like, who the hell am I now? I love, I care, I want to be all this. And my system's doing this thing and I'm this. The world needs me to be this. And I can't do both.
Yeah.
So what is the space in between that? I don't know yet, honestly, but that's
It's tough. Like, I think you nailed it though. Like,
sorry, that's
that's like, tough.
that's real.
That's real, and you're absolutely I 100% like, we are 17 years and 8 almost 18 years married now, and
Yeah.
we still even though my husband is now in an admin position where he's not out in the field as much, we still have that problem when he comes home from work.
Well, listen, because you got to think, how long is it? It's taken 18 years for his system to adapt and refine itself.
Mhm.
Listen, by the time, I mean, while I may, while I may have been an a-hole, I was a very talented precision a-hole.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
I mean, my husband's not an asshole. I that's
No,
not
but there
yeah,
were times that like frustration, irritation, like all that stuff that comes with
mhm.
keeping you in that zone, the underlying, buzz in the body that's just kind of always on edge. Babe, can't you relax? No, I can't relax.
No.
I am relaxed. This is relaxed. You
I
should see me on.
I
You gotta find a way to let the buzz go. It's like getting into flow state. I mean, it's a chemical cocktail. It's an internal drug in the system that when it gets out of balance, you got to do something. And I mean, when I used to come back from a trip at CIA, call Home Depot, make the order, truck comes by, here's a pile of wood. My garage was all like, I just was building stuff. Why?
Yeah, and I used to take it personally. I like, "Oh, he's out in the garage again. He's avoiding me, like, whatever. He doesn't wanna spend time with the kids." And now I'm like, "Okay, he needs to be in the garage and he needs to be doing the things, and when dinner time rolls around, then he'll have capacity for this relationship."
Yeah. Cause listen, I promise you, if there's a struggle, it is 100% because somebody doesn't have any capacity and they don't realize it. And then the problem is you're at home, mom, dealing with the kids, you're out of capacity. And so you're both are showing up together
Mhm.
out of capacity.
But I think that if we understand that
Man,
about each other,
Mhm.
and we talk about it, and it's not a he said, she said, or you're doing this and blah, blah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
wish he had known that at year 2, and that's why this conversation needed to happen because I want everybody else to know, "Hey, if this is happening, it's completely normal, and there's
Yeah.
nobody's broken."
Nobody's broken and nobody's doing anything intentionally. Nobody's
No.
listen, this is energy conservation. I mean, we as a population, we as a, I tend to here's how geeky I look. I look at us individually, and then I look at us collectively as an organism
Mhm,
trying to repair itself.
mhm,
So if you look at society globally, where we are with everything going on, and you consider it as an organism trying to correct itself, there's some interesting views you start to understand and things you start to see.
mhm, mhm,
And, the world doesn't provide space or capacity or room to breathe. It is designed so that you are constantly one to the next, to the next, to the next. And so the discipline is I have to protect my transitions. That's what I do. I mean, I protect my transitions. I set us up to remove urgency. Like I get urgency out, and as a fireman, that's a like, like
Everything's urgent when you're a fireman. Absolutely everything. But you can tell when they sit down to dinner how urgent everything is because
everything. Yep.
who's done eating first at the dinner table? It's
Yep.
not my kids or me
No, no,
because
gotta get done, gotta this, gotta that.
any minute I could
Yep.
get that call and the body keeps the score. So of course he's gonna be eating, fist over fist.
Yeah, it is the adaptation. And so
Mhm.
one as a spouse, you got to kind of just you got to get good to know the adaptation and then just kind of sit back and be like, "Yep, there's the thing. Yep, he's going out of the garage and he's just getting some capacity and
Yeah.
yep, he's going to eat fast cuz he's just 18 years. He sat down to eat fast cuz if he doesn't, then, out the
Well, more
door."
than
Yeah, got to the point where for me, the retirement's hard because it takes a long I mean, I'm not sure you can get where I am without treatment
Mhm.
after a life of service. Like, I don't know if it's possible. I mean, that's kind of where I am today. Like, how do we unwind the adaptation or readapt to the new environment?
Mhm.
And part of that's just going to be like defining the space. Like, okay, I'm done with that now. And then you just got to let it, it's just energy. I mean, that's the thing. It's not like we make it so much about things. Listen, at the end of the day, here's what I figured out. We operate on switches and mechanisms. A switch gets flipped, mechanism engages, creates energy, your choice, suppress it or express it, but that's it.
Yep.
Really not, it's not that complex. You
You
know,
made it so complicated. Like,
I'm safe or I'm not safe, period.
yep.
Mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, somewhere in there, it will always feel like a physical thing, even if I'm not mentally safe. If my thoughts are running, my body feels it.
Mhm.
And it's just a switch. And then there's the mechanism. And then there's the energy. What do I want to do with the energy? Do I get it out? Do I hold on to it? Like, what do I do with it? That's really it.
So yeah, so retirement is really just flipping the switch off.
It's knowing one, there's a switch.
Mhm.
And then two, you just got to let it leak. Flip the switch and then just give time to let it leak. And that could take however long, could take the rest of somebody's life.
Yeah.
That's why if you look, most people start to ease in retirement, right? They don't care much anymore. I mean, I'm finally 50 and I just don't care. I don't care what I look like. I don't care what my hair's done. I don't need to be a certain way. I don't give, dude, I'm just me. You can hang out with
Nobody.
me or not. I don't really,
Yeah. I
yeah,
had that realization at 40, so
yeah,
like,
yeah. I mean, it's just not
females
worth,
get there a little bit sooner than males. It's just a
yeah,
thing.
it's just not worth it. Yeah, yeah, totally. But if there's a struggle like that, if there's tension in the space, then it's a here issue, not a here issue.
Mhm.
Kind of maybe how I like to say that. Does
Yeah,
that resonate? Do you think that's a
yeah. It
fair
was a
way to
mindset.
kind of
It's a mindset issue.
yeah, if you're sensing tension
Mhm.
between you and your person, whatever that tension is not the answer is not up here. The answer is you can't think your way out of that problem. That's an energetic thing that hasn't been released or moved or whatever. There's something going on in the system
Mhm.
that you may not be aware of, you may not understand, you may not know, or whatever. I mean, you got to think about it. Like, what kind of childhood produces all this? That
Yeah.
this is calmer, that my most relaxed state is at, 800 degrees or rounds flying or whatever. Like we're all just chasing a chance to control the chaos inside. Uh, so, next time you're thinking about marrying a fireman, just realize that they're probably just trying to, they're probably, they gotta have bigger chaos outside to control rather than the chaos inside. Much easier that way. Not always, not everybody. Guys are going to get, guys will be like, don't be saying that crap. Note, note to every daughter out there considering marrying a fireman or an airborne ranger, or oh, they're so cool. They look so great in their uniform. Yeah, yeah, and they're really
Well,
great, but they're out
and
to solve a problem.
what's really interesting is I've had many conversations with firewives, and they're like, "I wouldn't marry a firefighter ever again."
Why would you do that? Yeah, I mean, if I go back and look at my life, I would have had to have had a very serious conversation with myself about the path I would want to choose and the reality of those paths.
Well, and unfortunately, I think, as at least from my own experience and my husband, they say you know what you signed up for. Like, these are the things that you knew you were getting into. And I'm like, yeah, but he didn't sign up for devastating wildfires.
E- e-
The
Uh,
world now is way different than it was when we were 18 years old.
oh,
He didn't sign up for maybe going into a fire and needing to wear a bulletproof vest. Nobody signed up for that. I'm sorry, they just didn't.
no, I mean that's the thing, and here's the fight against that, and this goes back to what you were talking about earlier. That's the battle between capability and capacity,
Mhm.
and as I have to build more capability, I tend to lose more capacity as well. Like there's this constant balance, and there's this constant transition, and so you
And
know,
how do
re-
you prepare yourself for that? Like, to your point, like, would you go down this path again? Who knows?
I I mean, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think part of the problem is you don't know the choice you're making until the choice has been made and completed. So you don't know the impact until you're done, until the retirement party, until 33 or 30 years in, and you're looking back being like, why? Why? But then you can't discredit it though. I mean, I don't. I'm grateful.
Mhm.
And I've also come to realize that, I would have been studying human behavior in a Mitsubishi plant if that's where, the Lord had
Right.
been like, Jeff, you're going to be a car maker. Okay, cool. I'd have been understanding like why people are putting rivets in this way. Like I still would have done the same thing, probably, is how
Right.
I view it, because it's my passion. But yeah,
Yeah, and when you're a helper,
Mhm,
you're gonna help. It doesn't
mhm.
matter if you're a firefighter or a cop or a volunteer at the food bank. If you're a helper, you're going to help. That is going to be your thing.
I think the answer most times is one, you got to slow down and take control of things. What's going on. Somebody's got to be the person, and I'll put it out there that it's time for the man to step up and take responsibility and to lead his family and recognize that he's taken on a commitment and a role that is phenomenal, but comes with a cost and a serious cost. And it requires and demands attention at a level they have not been educated or developed to do. And if you want balance, then you have to create it. And what balance looks like is leaving the firehouse at the firehouse and leaving home at home. And that's how the family gets created, not in isolation, but in partnership. Okay, babe, when I walk out the door, you got this because the leaky sink will eat my brain and could cost me. So I need a partner that I know can handle the leaky sink. When I'm halfway around the world or when I'm running into a burning building or I'm getting on an airplane or whatever it might be, I need to choose a partner that can handle that for me. and that I trust, that I have confidence and faith in.
Yeah.
And then my partner needs to accept this is a different game. You've spent a lot of years talking to women about how to be a firewife and what that looks like. That's a whole thing. Military spouse, fire spouse, law enforcement spouse. If you're going to choose to support a person or a man in those environments, it's a whole choice. And it's an everyday choice and it's an always choice. And you're making that choice that you are going to be a partner that steps up to carry a lot of the home. And if that's not your thing, don't do that. If that's not what you're looking for, that's not the right place, because that will break down, and you've watched it. I'm sure there's the years I'm probably sure filled with, you know,
Oh, yeah. Oh,
marriages
yeah.
that,
Not
that
not
didn't.
even not
It's because everybody ends up feeling duped at the end of the
Mhm,
day. And
mhm.
nobody did it intentionally. Nobody sat down and were like, this is a world that requires real active choice,
And sacrifice on
and
both.
and then sacrifice and care and attention and commitment to me. The family has to carry the commitment of the fire service or the law enforcement or the military. If you go back and look at those environments, why they have been successful and where they are most successful, when it is a whole family deal, when the family is in the fire service, when the family is in the community, when the family is involved. um, and I know that gets hard because then we want to separate work from home, but you can separate work from home energetically, because home is you get to be this at home. And so if I take the time to force myself to sit in the car for 3 minutes and breathe and scream or cry or whatever it is I got to do before I walk into the house, so I'm in the conditions I need to be in, and the presence coming in is a presence of, hi, I'm home, can I have a hug, it's been a hard day, or easy day, how's yours, whatever it might be. Yeah.
Yeah, so I've been hearing a lot in the therapy space, like, about calling and seeing what your battery capacity is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I've been hearing a lot in the therapy space
Right.
about how,
Mhm.
like, when firefighters driving home from work, he should call wife and say, or spouse, and say, "My battery capacity is at 10%."
Yeah. Yeah. I think anything like that is a huge tool. We used to have a board in the team room. It was the 100% board. You walk in the morning and you wrote what your percentage was. And if it was 20%, that was your 100%. And everybody knew, like, that's your 100% today is 20% or 30% or whatever. And then you know who needs to pick up the slack. And if everybody's at 20%, then you know, call in sick and have a movie day, like whatever it is. Yeah, I think things like that, anywhere you can communicate capacity is paramount,
Mhm.
because we argue over capability. You can't do this. You're unwilling. You just can't. You don't do this. You're ignoring me. You're just checking out. You're this, you're that. No, I don't have any space. Like, I can love you, but have no space for you. I don't have any
Right.
space for anybody. And and so that
That's tough. That's really tough.
is 99% of it right there.
Right, and that's a hard place to be and to understand. Because here's the thing. If you're married to a firefighter, you probably love just as deeply as they do.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to be. For any length of time, for any long-term successful marriage, you are just as crazy. Yep, you are the crazy people. Yep.
We're the crazy people, I love that. I feel crazy all the time, so it's good.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that's fine.
Yeah.
That's just life.
Yep.
So you can't take that personally on the other end, right? And they can't take it personally when you're at a capacity. I mean, I've had that conversation many times, like, "I don't have the capacity for this right now, like, we gotta put something down. I have to put something down so that I don't actually, like, get overloaded."
Yeah.
And one of the things that I put down a very long time ago was group sports for my kids.
Hmm.
Organized sports had to be
Oh,
not a
yeah.
thing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, done. When they were toddlers, it wasn't happening. I
Yeah.
didn't have the capacity for it. My children did not have the capacity for it.
Yeah, I mean, if you're out, they probably don't have it. I mean, that's the other thing. Yeah, it's like when you
Mhm.
and you,
Like, right?
Yeah,
You have
you
to
don't,
know.
and you wake up one day and you look around and you're like, why do I not even have 5 minutes in my day? Like, what happened?
I
What
had a day like that
happened?
yesterday, and I
Yeah.
let it happen because my children did not tell me what the schedule was. I literally drove into town, and I'm 15 minutes from town.
Yeah, there's a whole thing.
Like, what is that? Um, what was I saying? Oh, so I'm 15 minutes from town, so it's not like a big deal, but it is a big deal because it's
Yeah.
15 minutes. And I had to drive in 3 times because my child didn't tell me, it told me, "Oh, I need to be picked up at 2:30," but then it was actually 4:30, right? So I get
Yeah.
home, I get to where I'm going, and I'm like, he's like, "Oh, I'm really sorry. I messed up. It's 4:30." And then what, you're not gonna sit there for 2 hours.
No. No.
So drive back. Last night, I was actually talking to my husband on the phone. He was at work. We were talking on the phone. We were having a pretty serious conversation. And my 15-year-old is interrupting the conversation like every 5 minutes to ask me questions that didn't really matter at the moment. Like it wasn't a fire. And I'm like, I'm letting this happen.
Yeah. Listen, I now I mean, I tell
Pissed off.
Declan, I said, buddy, if dad's frustrated, 9 times out of 10, it's probably because dad did something to inflict that frustration. I didn't set
Mhm.
us up for time. I didn't account for things, and then urgency creeps in and we're just up against it.
Like we're doing it to ourselves. We
Well,
are.
yeah, every step of the way, every single step of the way. And you're right. You got to be honest with each other. You got to be able to say, hey, I don't have it, and not be pissed that the other person doesn't have it. You got to be like, okay, well, we're going to sort that out, figure that out,
Mhm.
And so it's one recognized, but then it's the willingness to actually do something about it. It's the willingness to take action. Because if you look at this, how many times I do it all the time, we know we're there. Oh, just need to, son, interrupting you. Instead, of, babe, hold on 1 second. I don't have that right now. Like, you're not,
Right?
this is just a waste of energy right this second. You're talking to me. I'm not even paying attention to you. You don't really even care about the answers. You're just like, this is just noise right now.
Well, it's also attention seeking, right? Like he wanted attention. That was his way of trying to get it.
Yep.
I'm like, "You are 15, not 2. You
Right.
can wait until I literally finish my conversation,
Yeah.
and honestly, you can find your own freaking ketchup in the refrigerator." But you know what it happened is I created the cycle of, "Mom, where's the ketchup?"
Oh,
Literally staring into the refrigerator. And I, being mom, was like, "Oh, I need to go help him." So I didn't create those boundaries up front when they were growing up. I just did it for them, and then here we are.
yeah. It is far easier to do. We listen. That's the parental trap forever. I mean, I fight
But
that battle
but
every single day of my life.
but to your point, we create those cycles, and then at the end of it, we're upset, and who are we really upset with? It's not the kid, it's me. I'm
Yeah.
the one that made the mistake of not requiring him to do it on his own, and now he's interrupting my conversation to ask me about ketchup.
And then the question becomes, when do you make the change?
No.
Yeah. I
I
mean, you
made the
have
change
to.
in the
Like,
moment. I said, "No, you are capable of finding the ketchup in the refrigerator, you just have to look.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You're capable.
You
And
are.
guess what? You have more capacity to find it than I do
Yeah.
right
Yeah.
now."
And I think it's a great way to start teaching kids. It's a great way to educate kids. It's a great way to understand that 9 times out of 10, if there's something off, it's a capacity issue first. If it's not a capacity issue, then you can actually, you know, you can deal with it. There's something to deal with.
You have the capacity to sit at this table and chant at me about things. You have the capacity to get up and go get your own ketchup.
Yeah, because it takes a whole family unit. And I mean, I think that's a fair point, especially to younger mothers and young couples who are entering the fire service or just being in the fire service. Like, how do we set this up? We have to set this up because this is a whole family thing. The kids got to understand it that if dad's, especially in wildland firefighters where things are, you know, 24-hour shift, 48-hour shifts, and it's like those are one things, but okay, dad goes, and this is what we do when dad goes,
30
and this is what
days,
we
are you,
do.
now he may not still be home, like,
Yeah, like, and this is your role in this family during these times. And I mean, kids love it when that starts early, when they're engaged early, when they get to contribute, when they get to take care of things.
I started late because I felt bad for them that their dad wasn't home. And so I was trying to overcompensate for that, right? Like I wasn't,
Yeah.
again, 18 years ago. So I was doing myself a disservice because I was feeling sorry for them.
Yeah, which then actually makes dad feel worse because now, wait, why are we feeling sorry for the kids? Dad, I'm just going to work. I'll be back. I'm just going to work. Why is this a problem? You need to start a
Right.
fire service premarital counseling program.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's what you
Or at
need.
the very least in academy, this is what you might run into. These are the things we've done that have helped, like
Well, we lost community. We lost
tribe.
connection. Listen, this is not, we chased our tail. This is not complex. Expansion of population across the world breaks down family structures. Family structures fall apart. Community falls apart. Connection falls apart. Support falls apart. Everybody's an individual, isolated individual, trying to navigate what they can based on an extremely complex, extremely intense, and extremely diverse environment that the nervous system cannot manage anymore. Now go have dinner. That's life today.
Oh my god, yes. Yes, it is.
And then I'm going to yell at everyone else around it because that's somebody's fault. We have to place that somewhere, and someone's got to hold responsibility
Yeah, it's the department's fault.
or whatever.
That's really, like, the common thread is we wanna blame the department for not having the conversation with the family. The department was never meant to have the conversation with the
Pe-
family.
People have been firemen for a long time. Been a lot of
I
marriages
literally made a
navigated.
reel yesterday, and I thought I was gonna get so much pushback on it because I'm like, "Respectfully, I didn't marry the department, I married my husband,
Yeah, yeah,
and the department has nothing to do with it." I mean, yeah, it leaks into our family life, and we need to understand the complexities of the job and all of the things. But at the end of the day, my relationship with my spouse is my relationship with my spouse. It has nothing to do with the policies of the department. A 24-hour shift, a 72-hour shift, a 96-hour shift, it does
he's
not
just going to
matter.
work. Yeah, she's
He's
going to work.
going to
It's
work
gone for six
and
months.
he's
He's
gonna
going
be
to work.
gone.
Yep.
And I'm left to manage my home.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe I'm trying to manage a job in the same
Mm-hmm.
thing, but I
Well,
knew that he was gonna be gone for 24 to 96 hours or however long it is.
yep.
And I made a choice.
Yep.
And I'm not gonna lie about this, for a long time, I was the opposite of this. Understanding of I'm making a choice.
Yeah.
I can
Yeah.
either choose to be in this relationship fully and understand the consequences of that, good
Mm-hmm.
or bad,
Yeah. Just things
and
come with
accept
it.
it, or I can get angry and blame the department or him or whoever you want to blame at the time, like whatever the flavor of the week is, right? Is it the overtime? Is it the Mandos? Is it the holdalls? Is it the stress of the job? Is it the wildfire that burned down the town? Is it the news media? What is it? Because at the end of the day, you're the only person that can decide how you're gonna feel about that and what you're gonna do about it.
Yeah, and how much that wants to creep in, and like that's the, capacity and boundaries. Like that's like my whole life now is just capacity and boundaries. Where do I have capacity, and where do I need to put a boundary? Yep.
And not feeling guilty about putting it down or picking it back up, because we can put things down and pick them back up too. You wanna really know what me going? This idea that it just gets better magically. It
You
doesn't
know,
get better, guys.
no, I mean it.
Magic.
I think here's what I would challenge on that. I think that depends upon, that is a very individual. I think there are people that is very true. I think there are people that naturally adapt to their environments extremely well, like family wise, both spouses, whatever. They got the luck of the draw. They had a really good family system at either
Mhm.
perspective that modeled connection, problem solving, mutual adaptation, modeled all that stuff. I was reading an article the other day and I'm like, I now finally get why you would choose your daughter's husband. Like that's a okay, hold on. Like I can conceptually understand the fundamental value to that through the entire family system, and that one little thing changing and why it changed and all the other stuff because it wasn't supported, and you know what I mean, it became something it wasn't intended to be, which is the problem, and that's a fault along the way. But if you just look at the purity of why it was done that way, it's like, oh, I get that.
because here's the thing, our family values are built into us when we are children. So
Yeah, you're not
so
picking them up
my
before.
family values now we're merging family values, right? So if my values were different than my husband's values at home when we were growing up, now we're gonna have a conflict of a value conflict, right?
The more I get into these days, I'm not.
I'm not gonna arrange my children's marriage, so let's not get into that. But I can I I get what you're saying.
But you're gonna educate them on choice. Like I will educate Declan on the choices he's making and the things that matter most that have just been obliterated in our society. And so, I mean, listen, take a breath, go for a walk, literally. Just let whatever is sitting on you, just look to see whatever's sitting on you. Is it yours or is it someone else's? If it's someone else's, you don't even have to give it back, just set it down. Just like, okay, I don't need this right now. I can get myself into a point of clarity. I mean, that was the whole talk yesterday to Missile Defense Agency was on resiliency. I was like, no slides today. And the woman that's managed the program, you can see her kind of like, no slides. I'm like, you don't know who I am. um,
I
like,
love that.
when I just told him, I said, listen, here's the deal. I really have one thing that I want to tell you today. One thing. It's all that matters, just one thing. But here's the problem. You won't be able to hear it right now. It won't make sense right now. You'll hear it, you'll contemplate it, and it'll leak out. So we're going to go on a journey to put you in a condition physiologically, biologically, to hear what I have to tell you. And I went through this whole thing about like collecting all the crap from the last week, today, putting it into a jar, breathing through it, setting it down, setting it aside, and actually just being here for a moment. And in doing that, now I've opened up the system and I've said, listen, resiliency, nobody told you what to do with it. It's like, great. Am I resilient? I don't know. It's to bounce back. What am I bouncing back from? I don't have any bounce. I lost my bounce in 1984. So if we can go back and find it, that would be helpful. This is how you do it. You got to wash it off. You got to take that energy, set it aside for a minute, and just sit in a blank space. Let the system relax. Actually feel the system be relaxed for a moment so you can hear what's going on and then realize that resiliency can only occur in the space of capacity. We had to get rid of that for you even to be here right this minute, to just even have this much capacity to hear what I'm. So I'm going to try to thread the needle and get this in because this should be a whole day event. Okay, so I've got a little needle. I'm going to try to fit it in. So resiliency, I need capacity to be resilient. Can't. No capacity, no resilience. What makes capacity? Okay, cool. What do I even do? And capacity only comes in our ability to adapt and move through the environments we're existing in. To not hold or be stuck in anything, but to really to be adaptive to the environments as it takes place and move based on the conditions and to be present here. That's what I start to see and I start to breathe. And then I take points in transition and I dump and I sit in the car for a few minutes and I scream or I breathe. I mean, I've done exercises where I'm like pulling energy out of my belly button. I'm like, get out. Like, I mean, you have to.
Yeah.
There's no choice anymore.
Nope.
Yeah. If you want the life that you're claiming you want, you have to. You have to have those. We're not even where we can say, oh, I need capacity. You can't get there from here.
Well, and to our credit being, as old as we are, we weren't having these same conversations 18 years ago, and we didn't know what we know now. And so we were figuring it out as we went along. And what we didn't understand is we were actually creating resiliency in ourselves and capacity in
Oh,
ourselves along the way, the hard way.
the hard way. Yep. The grind, the pushback, the learning, the lesson, the
Yeah.
yeah. I
And
was
I
like,
think a lot of times people find that when we share what we're sharing, they find it to be negative. But really, it's like, hey, look at us. We made it through all of that and
no.
we're still here and we're still talking about it. And we don't want you to go through the same nonsense we went through. So,
Yeah, and 9 times out of 10, that good because they're still in la la land, thinking the world's built with rainbows and butterflies, and everything's going to be
well, and
okay.
that's where we started this whole bunny trail was that it doesn't get better because it's magical.
Right.
It gets better because you make it better and
Yes.
you choose a different way.
Yeah. Like you said, it's just all in talking. Let me see how this one sits, which is as dad, here's what I've come to understand, So now I get to be dad. I get to do this twice, raise two daughters, grown adults. Now back to little man who's 7, 8. Now I'm clear that my presence has always been the first action. And my first action has been really wrong most of my life. I put the wrong coat on walking in the room. I was wearing the wrong thing at the wrong time. Not that I didn't have capability. And sometimes not even if when I had capacity, I was still wearing the wrong thing. Kids don't need firemen, don't need, SEAL, don't need Ranger, they need dad. And I got to figure out how to transition that. And, I used to talk about this as like, I can be a fireman and then I can be a dad. And I don't know, but you got to be something and you got to define what that is for yourself. You got to be all of it and bring it all into an assimilated identity, not a fractional identity, but you got to know who's leading, right? And when I come in the house, fireman doesn't need to lead. Unless the house is on fire, I don't need firemen, and it's dad time. And dad is the first presence. Dad is that moment. Dad is that one who is doing the work to make sure he has the capacity. I mean, just get the capacity to handle the first 10 minutes. Like start there, practice. You don't have to have capacity for the whole night. You might be in a really gnarly scenario. Just first contact and just survive first contact. And some guys might feel like that's first contact with the enemy because after a while, in coming home, when things are broken, it feels like you're making first contact with the enemy, and that's not fun. What's going to happen? What am I walking into? What am I going to get now? And you're
Or
bringing all
trust
that
it's
in.
happening on the other side too.
Absolutely. Yeah. If you had secret cameras inside, you'd be like, oh, babe, come here, give me a hug. Just shh, both ways. And so, both of you isolate 5 minutes before we come together every day. We have 5 minutes in the morning before we depart. We have 5 minutes in the evening quietly away from each other. You're going to take yours in the car because you're outside the house. I'm putting the kids in front of a thing and I'm going to go take 30 minutes myself to prepare to receive you. And you're going to transition from that and come in the door. And we're going to meet each other in a way that unifies our capacity so we can deal with the evening. Like that's, if I was going to do it again, which I'm not, that's what I would do.
That's brilliant. It's brilliant.
Just try that. Just go try that.
And then come back and tell us if it worked.
Yeah, seriously. I would
'Cause
like to
we
know
wanna
if it
know.
works. We have complexified this to a point where you can't do anything with it. And then all we do is we talk around it and around it and around it and around it. Just go to your corners, do some breathing until you feel ready to walk in the house. Like, how do I breathe? What do I breathe? I don't know. Breathe
That's
until
right.
you're ready, until you want your kid in your arms or a hug from your wife. That's how long you breathe.
Sometimes it's not gonna be that. You don't even have to breathe because you're ready to come home.
Yeah, yeah, you might want it already. You might own it, and then just kind of sit and transition and be in that space. Like that's your responsibility.
Enjoy your family when you're home. That's
Yeah,
right. And
yeah,
enjoy your job while you're at work.
yeah,
If
yeah,
those 2 things aren't happening, something is absolutely not right.
yeah, yeah.
So, that was great.
Good.
Is there
It was
anything
fun.
else you'd like to add before we well, first of all, where do people find you? Like,
Oh,
they're gonna wanna know.
Instagram, Instagram. Just right now. I mean, I don't do much anymore. The book's out. When It All Goes to Hell, that's out. I think I'm mind of Bandman now. Uh, and nothing to do. Come hang out. I don't put much up right this minute just because I'm occupied because I'm measuring my capacity, not
It's good
overrunning my
nothing
headlights.
wrong with that. I think we could all use a social media break.
Yeah. Yeah. But there's a lot of stuff out there. And there's you go to like the Bandman Perspective on YouTube. There's some podcasts up there and stuff. I filmed and put the entire operational mindset course that I taught for, however many decades to 20,000 people. I sat down one day and just recorded the whole thing. So it's all there in
That's
about
so
15, 20-minute segments. Uh,
That's cool because that's actually how we ended up meeting in the first place, was that operational mindset.
yeah, that course. So it's there. It's an entirety, just kind of hanging out, talking through it. So if you want to send that to anybody, you're more than welcome. Yeah, I'm just I'm in a stage in life where I'm just kind of putting like, I don't need you to buy anything. You don't even have to buy what I have to say, but if it helps, it helps. Cool. That's all I care about anymore.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, totally.
And this
Thanks for having me.
it's always a pleasure.
Absolutely. We'll talk again soon.
Okay.